Yep. How much of a loss is that?
Oh, it's a loss for any AFL team that loses their captain, but you know, as always, that opens an opportunity for somebody else. Marco Paparone's going to play his first game for quite some time for the club, so you know, you can choose to look at things negatively in life, or you can choose to look at them positively, and we look at it down the positive way, and it gives another young bloke an opportunity.
Looking at trying to be positive, can you believe that you rank outsiders going down against a club that's 6-0?
Oh no, because Sydney are a fantastic football club and have been, you know, one of the most successful sides of the last 10, 15 years of AFL footy. So the expectation around Sydney is that they're going to bounce back at some point in time. They've got a lot of good players, a lot of experienced players, and no, that doesn't surprise me. And on the back of our form last week, we didn't have a great night. Port played very, very well, and we had our first probably game of the year where we were a little bit off, and we paid the price for that.
You've probably monitored the Swans as close as anyone from an opposition point of view in the last few years, or had a good look at them. What do you think's changed this year? Why do you think they're that fraction off?
Well, you only have to listen to John speak in the media, and you know they pride themselves on their contested ball and tackling, and that's what he's talking about. Interestingly enough, we talk about the same things every week. So, you know, the battle on the weekend will be very much won and lost around who can gain the ascendancy in that area.
Your tackling was down last week, probably among a few other things. Was that highlighted this week, or is that an aberration, or is it? Oh
well, it is an aberration in terms of our season, because we've been actually a really good tackling side, but it dropped away at the weekend. It was one of a number of things that we touched on during the week. You know, we tried to turn the week into a learning experience, as we always do, whether it's whether we get a win or a loss or a subpar performance, and that was one of the things we touched on.
Reports suggest that Jared's about to re-sign. Is locking down the youngsters a key for you in the rebuild of the Lions?
Oh, absolutely. You know, those young guys coming to the club, we've only just seen a couple of glimpses of him. He did a really good job last week running around on Brad Ebert. He didn't win that battle, but he got an invaluable experience and won a fair bit of the ball himself and tackled really well. So guys like him with real leadership quality and passion for the club, the more of those lads we can get to commit to the Lions, the better.
Is it to send like a message to free agents that the Lions are a good place to come to?
Oh, if it sends that message, it's a positive. It's not necessarily why we're doing it, but it's certainly a good thing for our footy club and its image.
Chris, you said after the game when we asked you about that, Jared Berry's role, that it was part of his education as a footballer. But tactically, tagging, it's making a little comeback at the moment, I guess on the back of Greenwood v Selwood. What's your views on it? And I know it's hard to maintain a team defence and have a tagger running around at the same time, but
true.
It worked. Are you going to start doing it, or?
Oh, I think it's one of those things that you might use some weeks and not use other weeks. It probably just depends on when you look at a team, whether you think an opposition player has a huge influence, and by stopping him, can you actually get a better outcome yourself? So I think tagging's always been around. Probably less so in the last 4 or 5 years. It may be making a comeback. We'll have to wait and see, but it does unpick team defences when you do that, because you've got to leave a hole somewhere to do it. So it's one of those things you weigh up each week.
What about the capacity to do the job really well if you're only doing it once every 8 weeks or on demand? I mean, there's I don't think sides are going to draft specialist taggers anymore, but
no.
Is it something you can set yourself to for 1 week? And
I think it is if you have particular attributes. If you've got a good tank, for instance, and you've got good concentration, I think you can. But I think being a tagger week in, week out is actually a pretty hard thing to do. It takes its toll on you. I've talked to guys that have done it for a long period of time, and every now and then they need a break from it. It's I don't think it's something you can do every week.
What about? Sorry, one more on it. What about the footballers? Simon Black's an example. He's probably tagged in 318 games. These players today don't get tagged. How do you prepare them on the instance where it could happen, given that it's...
For a guy to get tagged?
Yeah, given that you don't know each week whether a side... the Greenwood-Selwood thing doesn't happen every week, does it? So
No. Oh, look, I think from experience, having worked with guys that have been tagged on a regular basis, it can wear you down mentally too, because they go, oh, here comes another one, he's going to belt me and bash me and run with me all day long. But you've got to look for the positives. The positives are when you are the bloke being tagged, is you always know where your opponent is. You can dictate the terms as to where you run to, and I think you just got to learn tricks, and you've got to get help from your teammates to actually break away from that close tag every now and then. So it's a bit of a team effort breaking a tag as he's tagging, in a sense.
Just want to go back to Beams for a sec, Chris. He's obviously had a really frustrating 18 months. This is a bit of a setback for him. How's he handled it? He's only sort of 5 or 6 weeks back and he's got another setback.
Oh, he was very positive, and he was running strongly at training last night, so we're not sure how long he's going to be, but going by that looked fairly promising. But he's been upbeat around the footy club. He's the captain, he needs to be, and he's setting a really good example in that regard.
So I know you said you're taking the positive, but he's had a terrific start to the year, so to miss probably your best or your second best, depending on how you rank them, but possibly your best midfielder for a couple of weeks. It's a pretty huge loss. Oh,
it is a huge loss, but all teams have players out. I mean, the Swans have got some good players out at the moment too, so we can't walk around lamenting the fact that our captain's out. We've just got to make the best of what we got.
So with the Paparone coming in, where do you see him playing football? He's tall, he's an elite runner. Are you thinking he's a midfielder and giving him a try? Where does he play in the twos?
In the twos he's been playing a little bit of he's been playing a bit of everywhere. He's been playing down back, bit on the wing, bit at half forward, and I think I think those guys are handy in your side that can flick between. So I would suggest more of that when he makes the AFL team.
How do you think Rocky will relish having the skipper tag again?
Oh, I think it's great for him. I'm sure he'll rise to the occasion and he'll set a great example.
Cutler another hammy? Sort of after a week, is that
it's another little niggly one too, so not sure whether he'll be a week or 2 weeks. Might be 2 weeks this time because he pulled up sore at the weekend.